My name is Antoine. I'm 34 years old and I came to Australia 7 years ago when I was 26, and I wanted to travel around the world very simply. It was a very long time I wanted to do so, and I couldn't for many reasons. I was still studying in France, but finally after I finished my studies I decided to leave France, and it wasn't too hard to come to Australia. I wanted to go to an English-speaking country, and I decided to come here on the other side of the world, which was quite exciting and obviously a new challenge for me. There was one evening, it was already almost 11, we were a bit tipsy, maybe a bit more, and one of my friends told me, Antoine, by the way, did you know that just around the corner there is this French restaurant, and I think they're still looking for some stuff. I did a trial there, so you might try. And I was like, you know what? I think I have a resume with me. Yeah, I always had a resume in my bag in this period of my life in case. And I was like, I'm not gonna lose anything. It's worth a try. So I went there at 11. The place was shut already. There was just the manager there, and I handed my resume, had a quick look, and he gave me a trial for the following week. And that's a really important moment for me here, because this is when everything started. This is when I really started to have a job that I love, and I started to be good at it, and that was really the most specific moment when my Australian journey started. After a while working in this French restaurant, obviously my first year working holiday visa was about to expire, so I didn't really have any other choice than extending my visa for a student visa. The only problem was that under the visa condition of a student visa, I could only work for 20 hours per week. That was the problem, because I had to work double as good as the other staff to prove them that I could keep this job, that I could be better, that I could be promoted, that I could expect a pay rise and to step up in the company. And it paid off after a little while, because I knew that the owners were planning to open a new cafe right in the CBD in Hyde Park. So that was a great new challenge again, and that was my only chance to maybe later eventually get a sponsor, which would allow me to stay and work here in Australia. The biggest difficulty here and the biggest challenge was that there was nothing here. That's very simple. There was literally only public toilets. So we had to build and create everything from scratch. New food, create an atmosphere, recruit people, organize the suppliers, decide what you want to do, what's going to be your identity as a cafe, as a restaurant, as a business. And through this period, I've learned so many things, like professionally and emotionally too, actually, because I had to recruit, obviously, new staff, new waiters, new waitress. And I still remember this girl one day from Slovakia. She came and dropped her resume here, and she left. And I told my friend, my colleague, straight away, you see, this girl, she's really my type. She's very pretty, and I really feel attracted to her. So I asked her to come back for a trial. And I remember during the interview, I was talking to her, and I could see this little sparkle in her eyes, and I could feel this the contact almost on the spot. We started to date secretly at the beginning for a few months. We didn't want anyone to know, because we wanted to protect ourselves as well from all that. And this is how my relationship started with my wife. We didn't really think about the future, but the situation wasn't ideal, because we didn't know exactly what's going to happen. What about she decides to go back in Slovakia? What about I decide to go back in my country? After 6 months, she got pregnant. And that was obviously amazing news. I was delighted. I was very happy about it. But then reality bounced back to my face, and I realized that, all right, we don't have a visa. We don't really have savings. We're not really settled here. What we're gonna do? We can't even afford for my wife to give birth here, because without Medicare, it's way too expensive. So we decided that she's gonna give birth in Slovakia, and I had to stay here to keep working. And then I could just visit her when my son was about to arrive, and that was just like 3 weeks holidays for me when I came there, and I could spend 1 week only with my son, and then I had to come back here and keep working, and they could join me only 4 months later. So in the meantime, I had to find an apartment, because we were not even living together before. So find a new place, organize everything, try to sort the visa out, because in the meantime my wife's student visa expired. So I had to, they couldn't even come back, they were not allowed to come back in the country. So I had to get a sponsor, and everything happened at the last minute. And finally they were able to come back and enjoy the life together. After they came back, I had more and more responsibilities at work, because the place was getting successful, which is great, but I couldn't be home that often. I had to work evenings as well. My wife had to stay at home, because we didn't have any help from the government or any childcare rebates, so childcare was way too expensive for us. We were really missing our family through this period. We spent a lot of money with the visa. The sponsorship is great, we can work here, but obviously I can't quit, I can't do any mistake, because if I lose my job, we all lose the visa and we all have to leave. We knew that's going to be just for a period of time, but you need to be extremely strong during this period. So you just do your best, hope for a better future. All those difficulties, hard time, challenges we encounter, when I see my son and I see him speaking to me in French, and then he's looking at my wife and he's gonna speak to her in Slovakian, and then he's gonna suddenly speak to both of us at the same time and speak in English. I can feel how rich it is that we are here. And obviously I'm not talking about money. I can feel this multicultural city, and we are multicultural in our own house. There are 3 languages there. I can feel the great impact it has on him, and it's just the best reward ever for me.